With so much drama in the LBC, it's kind of hard being Snoop D-O double G, but I somehow, some way, keep coming up with funky ass shit like every single day. May I kick a little something for the G's and make a few ends as I breeze through? 2 in the morning and the party's still jumping. 'Cause my mama ain't home. I got bitches in the living room getting it on. And they ain't leaving till 6 in the morning. So what you want to do? Shit. I got a pocket full of rubbers and my homeboys do too. So turn off the lights and close the doors. But what? We don't love them hoes, yeah. So we gonna smoke an ounce to this. G's up, hose down, while you motherfuckers bounce to this. Wow, I don't think I've ever... I'm touched. The poetry is just amazing. It kind of gets you where you live. If, I guess, you live in Long Beach, Compton. But I don't know, it touches me in a way that's hard to describe, unless somebody has one of those dolls out there, and then maybe I can show you where it actually touched me. So yeah, apparently I'm going to do a little bit, very, very, very little bit of the Ramble stream. And because there's still shit going on over at Killstream. Apparently somebody's figured out a brand new way to take advantage of mentally neglected people. And hey, you know, other people, especially the YouTube quote-unquote influencers, are apparently making a little bank off of it, like a referral service. So, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how I feel about it. With the whole candid thing, I was kind of like, meh. But when you talk about, you know, basically you're selling services to people who are, I won't say mentally disturbed, but maybe people who aren't necessarily in their right mind, or they're working out of desperation, you know, looking for some type of tangible sanity thread to hold on to. I gotta go with weak sauce on that. I think that's kind of a bitch move. People making money off of other people's mental illness. I guess that's you know, it's a burgeoning market. A little gin and juice. Dango ain't crying. Yeah, all fucked up now. But yeah. Here it is. I went on the other side of the 50. Not that 50. And I appreciate the one person who's watching right now, and I'll do this shot for you. And hey, Buzz, how you doing? After serious consideration, I'm pretty sure that even though sour watermelon vodka was at a discount, I'm again it. I'm completely and totally again it. And this one's not going to run for too long. Basically, the bar that I've set is if I run out of cigarettes or alcohol, either one, that's the end of the stream. We're done. And I have about 8 cigarettes left. And yeah, fuck. Yeah, I'm going to run out of cigarettes before I run out of alcohol. This stuff is just not that good. So, you know. Let's see. Well, Buzz, I don't know. Am I hooked up with you on the Twitters? I don't know if I am. Let's find out. There you are. And yes, I actually am hooked up with you on the Twitters. I'm going to throw you a link. You haven't been on the Ramble stream yet, so. It's kind of a comfy place. I haven't followed you either. No, I am following you. There we go. The times, they are changing. Hey, Tyro, how's it going? Hanging and banging. I don't know if Kadant's going to come in and co-host tonight. She did Nursey for me today, so that was kind of nice of her. And tonight I interviewed Mike Barron, the comic book artist. Although I do have to say one thing about when the show started, all of a sudden there's another person who popped online. Some guy named Ian. I didn't know who he was. Mike invited him to the stream, but this was a stream about Mike Barron, so I was asking very nicely for him to just go into the regular chat. And, you know, he could hang out from there. And he didn't want to do it, but he was making these weird faces. He had his camera on. So then I politely asked him because Mike was like, yeah, he can stay. Well, I basically said, okay, dude, you know, I type into it in the side chat. I'm like, you can stay, but you got to turn your camera off. I mean, I didn't want to be insulting, but he was making faces like the whole time. You know, kind of like those what I don't understand kind of faces, and looking at shit like he was contemplating. It was incredibly awkward, and I was like, yeah, okay, you know. So he didn't say a word, but he coughed a couple of times, which, you know, if he was in that chat, he probably, since
there we go.
Hey. Since he's a filmmaker, he probably should have at least turned his damn mic off. Because honestly, I was not going to ask him any questions. Yeah, this was the Mike Barron interview. So that was kind of funky. It made me want to drink more. Buzz, how are you doing?
Doing good. Been a busy week.
So wait a minute, you're I was trying to read. You've got temporary housing while you're working on your property.
Yeah, I got a little 12 by 24 barn, like a shed. It's going to be a studio / housing when the lease is up in the apartment while we're building our house.
So are you going to be shooting any adult films in your studio?
No, but it's going to be lots of green screen effects and kind of upgrade my production of what I've been doing. So,
no adult cinema at all.
Well, not unless the money's there. I mean, you know.
Well, no. See, you know, you record that with your loved one, and then when you die, your grandkids will be going through that shit.
Well, They may get some surprises of that, but nothing for YouTube, anyways.
Well, oh no, yeah, YouTube ban it out outright.
I just mask it with the special effects.
No. See, Tyro, you don't get it. Porn is only awesome if you're participating in it. You know, if you're just watching it, man, that's okay. Maybe it might provide some incentive for, you know, later boot knocking or something like that. But it's just not as good unless you're in front of the camera.
If you're in it, it's memories. It's not porn anymore.
Well, yeah, or you know, you could do the whole thing where, God, I remember when I used to fuck like that. Wait a minute, let's go to the footage.
It's a documentary. There you go, or a cockumentary.
Call of the Cunnilingus.
Hey, we're getting titles already.
Oh yeah, I remember we spent a blackout by dawn stream, basically trying to find the best parody, the best parody pornos out there, and it just spiraled out of control completely. But it was lovely. I
can imagine.
I mean, there's a couple titles that I was curious about after I saw them. I thought that was kind of large and bizarre. Okay, we'll put this down, and now I know actually I put Cadet to sleep last night.
Uh-oh.
We must have bored the shit out of her. Because she went down like a 60-pound bag of potatoes. It was nice because, you know, it's an Insomniac stream, and one of the reasons why I have her co-hosting is the fact that, well, she's an Insomniac.
Well, there you go.
And
I work third shift, so I catch some of these shows sometimes, and sometimes I don't.
Tyro's saying that he and Lo fell asleep too.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it was a low energy show, no doubt, until it got to the point where Sir Adamantine was trying to mac on Blackout. You know, basically add him to his stable. Because, you know, Blackout's a pimp.
Yep.
Or at least he's an internet kind of pimp. Let me see. Well, Tyro, since you're the only other person who's actually here, I feel bad kind of leaving you out. So there's the link in your DMs. If you'd like to hop on for a little bit. I feel bad kind of leaving you out. So yeah, I mean, it saves you the trouble of having to type shit.
No kidding. Where was this cut and paste stuff back when I was growing up?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't foresee a lot of people coming over here because they've got Worski on the kill stream right now talking about that better health. Yeah, that Better Health app thing where they charge you a shit ton of money for psychological advice, and apparently the people who are running it are just shillmeisters extraordinaire, and they're just, you know, bilking desperate people out of money they probably shouldn't spend on online psychiatry.
Oh, that's everywhere, man. If I can't see you face to face, you ain't getting my money. That's for sure.
Well, whatever happened to just, you know, calling up a 976 girl?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If you think I'm going to pay you money to tell me you're crazy, I'm crazy. You're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, my mom always said, you know, everybody's a little insane. It's just how and if you don't appropriately apply it in your life, then it'll get in the way. So I've always held to that. I mean, I've had my moments where I am completely out of my head, but in my normal life, I take my insanity and I fold it into whatever I'm doing. So a lot of people mistake it for childlike wonder. And a very good morning to you too, Sparky. Yes, there is no more drama. We save that drama for our mama.
You know, I've always wanted to go into a psychiatrist's room and tell them, hey, you got a bunch of crazy people in the waiting room.
Mm. One of my older brothers had to have a psychiatric evaluation, and it was one of those like scantrons, one of those, you know, it's got the 5 little dots, and you know,
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel happy, you know, completely true, sometimes true, mostly true, sometimes untrue, completely untrue. And he basically figured out what they wanted to hear and did the exact opposite. And they automatically, because this was like a school thing that he did in high school, and they automatically wanted to assign him a psychiatrist, and they were talking about maybe having him being homeschooled because some of his answers made him seem dangerous. But I will tell you, my favorite story of playing with a test, or something that you had to fill out. I got a jury summons once, you know, and at the time I actually had a job and I had shit to do. So, you know, not that I wanted to shirk my civic duty, but fuck that. You know, I didn't want to waste any time. I was making good bank. So they sent me this thing to fill out, and I filled it out in crayon, and I sent it back, and I never ever got a word from jury selection ever again. It's been going on like 30 years now.
I gotta try that. Yeah.
You know, and I did use a nice crayon. You know, it was I think it was midnight blue. So at least they could tell I was serious about filling out the answers. It's not like, you know, I took a burnt Sierra and tried to fill it out.
Yeah.
You know, you could put that in a photocopier back then, and it would still, it would still transfer colors. Now, of course, photocopiers back then, if you did the crayon heavy enough, it would melt to the photocopier window. But yeah, that's their problem. And a very good morning to you, Sisyphus. Nice to see you here. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. People are always going to take advantage of people. My 2 personal mantras. One of them is people will always be tempted to wipe their feet on anything with welcome written on it.
Yes, that's true.
And there have been snake oil salesmen since time immemorial. And they just basically, the snake oil people just moved online and figured out a way to get your money for a product that really doesn't work.
No, that's cool. Everything, every ad's gonna tell you they got the best stuff because.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be really happy if you know there were people out there, you know, snake oil salesmen, and they just decided to go legit and, you know, like become cannabis salesmen or mushroom salesmen, you know, magic mushroom salesmen. I think we've got enough alcohol distributors and tobacco vendors out there. I think I think that should really open up. And I do believe that our magical president, I think he's going to be one because he's a trolling bastard. And in order to piss off even more people, he's going to make marijuana legal. And it's basically going to make many, many, many people that are on the far right or far left and extremists, well, maybe some on the far right too, just make their heads automatically explode once he signs the bill. And that'd be cool. I'm all right with it.
That's the problem with politics is they forget they have to represent everybody, not just the people who elected them. And that's what he's doing. He's kind of hitting on both sides of the fence.
Dude, I'm betting you that, you know, when you know the lights go down and, you know, there's no more tours going through the White House, that, you know, Trump's just running around in his boxer shorts going, woo, who can I fuck with tonight?
Well, look, I always said, if he has his Twitter, he's telling his handlers, hey, watch this shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I know I would.
People who have not figured out that he has figured out he's the most powerful man in the world and he can fuck with whoever he wants on Twitter and Twitter won't touch him. I mean, the day that Twitter suspends the sitting president of the United States, that is definitely going to be a telling sign. Oh, by the way, everyday man, hello. Patrice, very good morning, and a very good morning to you too, American Phoenix. Like I was mentioning at the top of the hour, I don't see me really spending a shit ton of time tonight, you know, running until the sun comes up, like we've done the past couple of times, for God's sake. But we'll be on a little bit, just squawking and talking. Let's see here. I would like to see Toys R Us come back. Because I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
Well, I wish they get some toys in there. Make me wish I was a Toys R Us kid again. Shit.
Well, here's the thing. They banked on Disney because this is from what I heard as BTS, that they had to take incredibly large shipments of the Star Wars toys in order to get the Disney toys that actually sell, you know, like the princess stuff.
Yeah.
And I know there's one guy online, and I apologize because I can't remember his name, but he literally would go to Toys R Us and film the actual shelves. And like you find one row that had nothing but Rose Ticos. And he's like, yep, this is why they're going to shut down. And he would come in, like, I think like maybe once a week. And he would shoot what the shelves look like. And then he'd do a comparison. He's like, this is what it looked like last week. Wow. It looks like the exact same shelf from last week, except for it looks like they moved more Rose Ticos from someplace else. But yeah, you know, you really want to have a toy that you want to play with, and most kids, and this is a generalization, most kids who play with action figures like that are males. And you can't really twist a kid's arm to like a toy and to play with a toy. And
it's like when my kids were growing up, I went in there and it was like, I couldn't find anything that I'd want to help play with my kids. Like, no, sorry. Not my money.
Dude, are you kidding? When they had, back when I was in my teens and they were bringing out the first Secret Wars figures from Marvel, I was shoving those little fuckers out of the way. It's like, no, I want this Doctor Doom.
No, like now, my kids now, like I'm going in there. Like some of the drones that got coming out, those are kind of cool. And some of those, these kind of toys and technology. But I went in there with my daughters, like outside of a few, video games, there wasn't really nothing in there for me to
Well,
buy.
but once again, now, and this is something that Mike Beard and I talked about on the show this evening. His thought is that basically, if you can go and plug into a console, you don't need to create any story or background. So, action figures, playing with toys, the gaming industry is essentially destroying. Now, I read an article a while back. I don't remember from where because I'm drinking. That most of the people who buy toys nowadays, the majority of toy buyers are 30 somethings and higher, and they're buying for nostalgia, or if they have kids themselves, they're buying them for their kids and hoping that they will play with them. And you get to about 6 or 7 years old, at that point you're starting to understand and comprehend, and your dexterity is working to be able to play a video game. So why do they need toys anymore? I mean, essentially, video games, even though people are like, oh, it's got great story and it wraps you up in it and blah blah blah, but yeah, it's not your story, it's not your imagination, you're living in someone else's world. That's why creativity right now, with the generations that came after me, is at kind of an ebb, because they're literally not being encouraged to use their imagination, and that's kind of a sad thing. I mean, then again, they end up reading people like fucking Stephanie Myers or J.K. Rowling. Now, of course, those two are females, but those are just the first two that came to mind as far as, soul-sucking imagination. I don't like their shit. I did read it. Well, okay. I'll admit I read the first 2 Harry Potter books, and I was done. I read the first Twilight book, and I didn't even get all the way through it. I'm like, this is some of the worst written shit that I have ever read. And kids are using that, and of course more of them are actually watching the movie adaptations than they are actually reading the damn books. So it kind of defeats its own purpose, except for the creator, who's making a gajillion dollars.
I like the movie.
Which one?
Well, I mean, I'm more of a movie person than a reader. I'm more visual, so I take in more. I think you can get more on the. Me and my daughter argue about this all the time. She's a reader. I said, but a book would take forever to explain, like the Star Wars cantina scene. There's so much going on visually that it would be hard to put that into a book, for me anyway.
Well, if you ever read the book, it's pretty lacking.
Yes, either the books, some of them are great, but it depends on the writer. But still, there's so much you can get in a movie visually that the book would take forever to describe the whole scene.
Well, and video games have legitimately, along with movies, have legitimately taken the place of books, because you had imagination in your back pocket, and when you had a moment, you pull it out and you read it. You can do the exact same thing with video games right now, and of course, every Blu-ray player has a pause button.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, it's basically at your whim as how you want to do it, but imagination suffers. Well, actually, my two of my nieces, Patrice, are in their 20s, and my sister got them into collecting Barbies. So still, to this day, one of them always asks that if you're going to get me something, then get me a Barbie. Um, although, you know, I have been searching for white trash Barbie. Now I don't know if you know this, but back in the day, you know, when they were trying to make Ken hip in the 80s, they brought Ken out uh, with you know, well, it's not hipster clothes. Back then we called them hipster clothes, but it was, you know, 80s hipster clothes. And when they sent it over to the production company, they also gave him an earring. But here's where they fucked up. They put the earring in the right ear, not the left. So you had gay men all over the place buying Kens. And they realized their mistake and they recalled the product. And I don't know if this was a first for Mattel or what, but they had difficulty actually getting any of them back because they were selling out so quickly. So yes, there is a homosexual Ken doll out there. And oh, I'm sorry for the people who are actually listening. Back in the day, whatever side that you pierced displayed your sexuality, and this was an open thing. Unless, you know, you were somebody who got both ears pierced. I did know quite a few bikers that had both ears pierced because they wanted to have that pirate look going on. But yes, a piercing in the right ear meant you were gay. A piercing in the left ear meant you were straight. A piercing in your nose meant you have way too much fucking time on your hands as a man. It was so funny. I dated this black girl down in North Carolina, and I say black because back then the hip thing was getting nose studs. It was a cultural thing for some reason. At least down there it was.
Yeah.
And one night we were sitting there at a fast food place eating, and she starts to sniff back like she's going to sneeze. And she grabs her nose and pinches it to stop her from sneezing. And that didn't work. The force of the sneeze literally blew her nose stud out of her nostril and shot it across 3 tables. And I'm like, so, Tamika, you rethinking that nose piercing by any chance? She sexted me anyway, so I guess she got the joke. And no, you people out there, the joke wasn't the sex.
Yeah, no, that's. I don't know about some of that stuff. I just.
Well, I had the availability when I was young, dumb, and full of ambition to do a lot of traveling. I traveled up and down the Eastern Seaboard. I was setting up telemarketing offices, and also in the Midwest, I was setting up telemarketing offices. So I would get to move to a place, and my point of attack was if somebody called me in to set up their telemarketing office, I would come in, I would help them do the hiring, but I would go on the floor as one of the cold callers. And for those of you who don't know what a cold caller is, that's somebody who just basically picks up a Haynes directory, which is a telephone book that's kind of street by street addresses. And you basically call people and try to convince them that they really need to have your product or service, and can we send one out? And so I would work the first month, and I would legitimately show them by me working that you can make the numbers that you're supposed to make if you want to hit your bonuses. Then after that month was done, I would I'd take the big chair in the call room, and I would go ahead and just monitor them. The worst thing was for them was that after that month was done, I would call them into my itty bitty office, and I go, okay, you know, I worked the same job that you did. I was on the floor when you were doing your job. So here's a review. This is A, B, and C that I think you can improve on. And there's no way that they could do any pushback because of the fact that I was there with them 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for 30 days. So not only was I doing the job that they were doing, I was able to check out the job that they were doing as well. And that really helped out. I always hated firing people who put in best effort, but they just flat out sucked at the job.
Yeah.
And the people who were really good at it, who were fucking lazy, I mean, I hated to fire those people too. Well, no, I didn't. It was fun. But yeah, I mean, it's like the telemarketing offices that I was setting up. I'm like, you can make as much money as you want, because if you set a solid appointment for somebody to come out and try to sell that product, you're meeting your number quota. But if that actually sells, you get an additional $50 on your paycheck. And we're talking in the 90s. So, you know, the $50 on a paycheck was pretty damn good.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I showed them like in 1 week, I would try to set an appointment every hour. So I would have a legit 40 appointments rolling out. And out of those, you know, basically 25% of them were sales. So I got an additional $500 in my paycheck just by doing my job well. And some people just can't grasp that. They just want to do the minimum that's available and then go on about their business. So they have every right to bitch about, you know, how the man's keeping them down.
Well, I heard today on the radio, one of the news talk shows, that like Amazon and some of these companies are going to $15 an hour trying to get people to work because they can't find people to work. I said, nah, they're just gonna get the slackers on 15 an hour for doing nothing.
Oh yeah, you know,
I mean, they'll get a few that may quit to go to get a better job, and you know, actually, you know, the hard workers. I was telling my dad, I said, watch this. This is how long this is gonna last, man.
Oh, I spent time on many floors. I did about, you know, once I started getting older, I started settling down, and I've done phone service for like over 20 years before all the strokes and that shit hit. And I was basically part of one company. It was a Fortune 250 company, and they were literally the gene pool was not just shallow, but it was dried up, and the mud beneath was cracking. I mean, we would bring in people, and I would be part of the training crew, and I would go, okay, we've got 20 training associates right now. 10 of them are shit. 5 of them are on the fence, and there's probably 5 that'll make it past 6 months. Because we had this thing called terminal burnout. And most people who hadn't worked a phone job or didn't know what it entailed, they would be able to work it. They'd be able to put some energy behind it. But then they would hit a wall at about 6 months, and they just burn out and leave. There were some people who tried to stick it out, but by and large, when we graduate a class, we were lucky to see a quarter of them still there on the floor. Past 6 months, past a year, we were lucky to see out of a graduating class of 20, we were lucky to see 4 still there. And then if you get like 3 years down the road, you're lucky to see even 1 or 2, because it's, you know, phone service is a monotonous job. If you don't find some sick twisted pleasure in it, then you're going to burn out and it's done.
Oh yeah, I did retail for a while. I like retail because I did well in that because people were always looking to be told what to buy.
Mm.
You know, as far as the Western Wear store that I worked at, the one time was popular. They were coming in, they would look, and they wanted to buy something. You just kind of had to coach them into it, and they were happy. They leave, and I tried to do one of those things where it was kind of a scam. They got those lithograph prints.
Okay.
And you went around door to door trying to pawn them off with what they'd tell us. Oh yeah, say the gallery is closing out. You co-signed them for like $10, and you try to sell them for 30 type thing. And I didn't care for that too much.
Oh yeah, I used to do the begging door to door for what is it, Citizens Action Group, which they were just begging for money to help with whatever natural disaster or some eco-friendly cause. And what people didn't know is whatever they donated, the person who got the donation from them, they got half of whatever they were able to bring in. So 50% of the donation automatically off the top goes to the salesperson who's doing the door to door.
Yeah. Well, this company here, they made it look real good. Like they take you the one night, the one meeting was on this yacht in San Francisco, and you know how easy it was to make all this money and stuff. And for some people, it was a natural thing. To me, it was like it was too much work. I said, no, I'm tired of doing this. You know, just kind of, especially when you walked up to every door, no soliciting. I said, well, I guess if you don't buy it, I'm not soliciting. You're not soliciting.
I mean, we used to sell some, you know, some cheap shit, door to door, you know, nickel quarter stuff. And, you know, we'd sell it for like $5 a shot and get away with it. Just like, over the phone, we used to call and do the veterans thing where we'd say, you know, and just for your donation of $10, we'll send you a complimentary decorative desk flag. And, you know, the desk flags cost like 2 pennies and they're made in Taiwan.
Yeah.
But, now one of my favorite things, because I was a crazy fucker. Anytime I did phone service, because, you know, you have to, in order to stay sane or last long in any job, you got to go a little bonkers. And one of my favorite things to do, I was a king de-escalator. You know, people called in pissed, and 99% of the time I could diffuse it. I wouldn't have to pass it on to a supervisor. So I would normally do this, and this was just to fuck with people that were sitting around me. I would go, you know, something like if they demand the supervisor, I would, you know, basically say, well, you know, I'll be happy to help you with that. I think probably the easiest thing to do is let me go ahead and get all your information. Let me get that verified, get it out of the way. And then I can pass that information on to my supervisor. So they'll be fully aware of the situation and be able to jump right in with both feet. And they'd be like, oh, okay, great, terrific. And so they give me the info, and I'd be like, well, may I place you on hold for one moment? And they'd be like, oh, yeah, sure, because I'd gained their trust at that point. And I would basically just put them on hold, whistle the Jeopardy theme, and then come back and go, well, you know, I did speak with my supervisor. Then I hit the mute button and go, via Vulcan Mind Meld, unmute. And they said that I would be okay to take care of this situation for you. and then I'd explain exactly, you know, how they were going to get their appeasement. But my God, especially the new people that they would assign around me, they would literally jaw drop. And it's like, okay, guys, number one, you really, really need to figure out how a mute button works. This will save your sanity, even if you want to curse and kill the people that you're talking to online. For God's sake, don't, because that's your job. And of course, that means you go to jail. But it makes things a whole hell of a lot more fun.
Oh, yeah, no, that's...
You know, fuck with people without having to actually fuck with people. And that makes the world and yourself smile.
Well, I like, you know, where I work, they always want to come in. We got 3 signs that do not enter, exit only. And, you know, I like telling people they're an idiot without calling them an idiot.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Because then they get pissed because they want to get mad, but they can't get mad because I didn't give them the reason to get mad. But...
Well, and like, if there were people who were being real assholes to me, I would do the thing. I'd close the call out, you know, after asking if there was anything else that I could do. And I'd do the, well, I certainly would like to wish you a better evening. And then I hit the mute and go, but I'm not fucking gonna. And then unmute. So yeah, I had some mad fucking mute skills. Mute button was my friend. And technically for a while it was my mistress, but that's an even longer story. But there we go. I just wanted to drop back into chat because I have not been watching. There are well, there's you and I, so there's about a half dozen people listening. Thank you for spending your early Wednesday morning with us. And yeah, there really there's no drama going on over here on this side of the internet. Although people, I'm pretty certain that these are bullshit requests, but people keep asking me when I'm going to have Mundane Matt on. And I'm like, well, I do have him scheduled to be on the 5th of Nevertember. Because I don't give a fuck what he's got to say. Could not care less. Because if you're already at the point of zero care, you certainly could not care less.
I mean, I've heard bits and pieces about him up to his latest thing, but I never.
Dude, I mean, just you know, put the stick down. You know, the horse is dead. You don't need to beat it anymore. He's on a personal path of self-destruction. Just let him be.
Well, that's a few of the people I got back into YouTube. I had a channel of over 10 years old that I didn't do anything with really other than personal videos. I started watching, I can do some of this stuff, and I started realizing everybody is doing the same videos like Riley Dennis or, you know, it's like, I can't just, anything I'm going to say is what everybody else has already said, so what's the point? So I just started doing my own little creative video stuff.
Well, that's why I made a concerted effort. I mean, Ramble Stream, yeah, sometimes we're going to talk about politics, maybe some religion, but when it comes right down to it, on my main show, I'm not having any of that shit because there are too many fucking people out there that really want to make it a case, that really just want to rage against the machine that I don't care about. You know, if somebody wants to convince me, I will be happy to talk to them behind the scenes. But being an ex-speech and debate coach, you better come with your citations. or I'm going to tell you to fuck right off. If you have just a feeling about it, then we can't have a debate. We can have a discussion, which is a completely different thing. You know, here, this is why I think that I'm right. Oh, okay, well, here's why I think I'm right. And instead of people going, well, here's why I think I'm right, and then the other person going, well, here's what I think. No, you're wrong. Shut up, you're wrong. There's way too much of that going on. I mean, whatever happened to the Socratic method? I mean, fucking ask your goddamn questions.
On the internet, both sides are right, and that's it. and neither one's going to concede. It's like, you know, fucking.
Well, it's the old immovable force versus, well, immovable force. I mean, I find that the only way that you gain any headway is to back away from somebody who has opposing opinions and then come back to them in like 5 or 10 years. And magically, their opinions have kind of changed. Not necessarily, you know, completely over to what you were saying, but they usually aren't as militant. They've lived some life, they've tucked a few years under their belt, so now they're actually willing to listen to somebody and have a conversation. Whereas I've had 20-year-olds get in my face like, oh man, you can't understand anything, you don't know what's going on. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm double your age, I've lived more years, and I'm personally going by experience, what I've seen, what I've heard, and, you know, touched, tasted, smelled, whatever my senses have told me is what I choose to believe. Now, if I read something and it doesn't seem right to me, or seems like something I would agree with anyway, I'll still go ahead and read the other side's opinion on it, because due diligence is what's going to get you through. You read it, you understand it, and then instead of somebody telling you how you need to react or feel, you can make that judgment yourself. And it's just, I don't know if the generations past me just don't want that responsibility anymore. But, you know, when it gets down to the zombie apocalypse, if you're still thinking that way, you're dead in the first 2 days.
Well, I think a lot of that's the public school system does that bit.
Well, it's funny. I have a friend who's a career counselor at a major college in the Midwest. Not going to name any names, but if I named it, everybody in the chat would know what it is. And I was like, you know, I really want to catch up with you, and I know what you do right now. Do you think you'd want to come on and discuss the public education system without trying to drag in names like Obama and Trump? And he's like, oh, dude, I could do that all day. He's like, I'm partisan to what my beliefs are. And anybody who's been in education for more than a couple of years already sees what the flaws are. You know, there may be a little kid sticking their finger in the dike, but that whole dam's going to bust. And the one thing, though, that I told him, I said, listen, this sounds like a great idea. I'd love to talk to you about this on the show. Do me one favor. Go talk to your peers. Go get their thoughts on this. Because I don't work where you work. And theoretically, if you go onto the show and some asshole finds it and wants to make a case, can they? You know, I don't want to fuck you over in your career because you don't have tenure. Jobs like that with colleges don't have tenure. And he's like, wow, that sounds like a smart idea. I'll go ahead and do that. And, well, I haven't talked to him. It's been a couple of weeks. So I'm going to find out soon whether or not the cool breeze is blowing properly his way, so to speak. But yeah, I certainly would like to have him on, and just have a candid discussion about education. Since we graduated at the same time, we both have a commonality. We know how education was during our stay in scholastic prison. And I got to be a speech coach, so I would actually go into classes, and I was kind of able to hear the shift coming. And it disturbs me to this very day that it's less instruction in school than it is indoctrination, because they do want you to believe along a party line. Now, it's the same way when I was going through school. I mean, up until my senior year, we did Pledge of Allegiance every morning. And there's no way in hell they would do that now.
Oh yeah, no, it's
wow. Let's see. Hey, we have just as many people watching this show right now as we did watching my main show today. I was kind of sad about that, because Mike Barron's a pretty interesting guy. I'll be honest, I don't think I pulled the interview off like I wanted to, but at least we got an hour and a half in. And I'll say this and leave it here. You can tell if it's a good interview by how long it goes. So normally we schedule for 2 hours, but I've had 2 guests that only made it an hour and a half.
wow.
So yeah, take that for what it's worth, because I've had streams. Well, the longest one so far, I think, is like 5.5 hours that we did for Doctor on Call. I brought a buddy of mine on who runs his own independent fed and has done independent wrestling for over a decade. And then apparently Tonka got interested, so I invited him into the chat, and we did a 3-way dance. But oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I know. So, well, like back to the school thing. My oldest was in a private school back when Obama was running. She's like, "Oh, Obama's cool." Obama. I said, "Look, I don't care." She goes. She was telling me, "You're just mad because I'm not going the way you can vote." I said, "No, I don't care if you're gonna vote differently." Well, she was old enough to vote anyways, but he's cool to put your vote on.
So was it a charter school?
No, it was a private school. She was in grade school, the private school she was going to. But years later, she goes, "Wow, man, you were right." I was like, I'm not telling you have to agree with me. I'm just saying, make sure your principle was good before you just start voting for somebody.
Oh yeah, my wife's daughter, who just so happens to be transgender, is very much in the communism is definitely the way. She's very left. She still believes that Trump is going to set up internment camps for gays. And I'm just like, don't you think any of this is a little bit of overreacting? Because, if he would have got in office, immediately, he would have abolished the other two branches and then just started on to, do this nefarious plan that you're accusing him of actually planning.
Oh yeah.
That kind of stuff just irritates the shit out of me because, I mean, can't you just step back like 3 paces and go, God damn, that sounds loony?
Well, they run with what they hear. They hear a talking point. Well, this is what the problem with the schools. They're thinking for themselves, like, gee, that can that happen? Well, they run. Well, it's like these articles. You see a clickbait title, and then boom, people automatically think, without reading the article, that, oh my God, that's stupid. Or then they make their comments without reading the article. They just read the title.
Oh yeah, and media knows what they're doing. There is a study done where most people will read an article in the first paragraph and then take away what they can from that. So you'll see that a lot of articles in the front are completely front loaded with whatever policy that essentially whatever's being agendized, that it will be completely spelled out in that first paragraph, and then they will actually go into citing facts and all that fun stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I tell my kids is to read the whole thing, make your own decisions, but make it based on what you come up with, not what somebody else tells you what it is.
Yeah, it's a fucking shell game. And I tell everybody this, if I get into arguments with people, I'm like, have you done your due diligence? It's like the whole Kavanaugh thing. They're like, oh, well, he's probably a rapist and he was a privileged white boy and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, have you looked at the docket of any of the rulings that he's done? He's pretty much straight down the line. Now, he may be a Christian. He may be a little conservative and right, but that doesn't get in the way of his job. He legitimately wants to follow precedent and not make precedent.
Yeah, he followed the Constitution. That's it's basically
Well,
but he threw ice at somebody though.
Oh my God, yeah, and it's so funny. There's people online that studied the body language of everybody in the Kavanaugh hearings, and the one of the ones that I watched, it was a female content creator, and she goes, "Yep, she's lying. She is 100% lying, and she's putting on that pretty pouty girl look to try to get away with it." You can tell, and it reminded me of, I don't know, did you remember the series that Fox had? God, this is probably 10 years back with like Tim Roth. It was called Lie to Me.
I never caught that one. I kind of remember it, but
Yeah, his skill was micro expressions, that he could read somebody and figure them out by the micro expressions that they made.
I remember that one.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. I would love to see somebody who's certified real life on that one. Have them with C-SPAN, because I think it would ultimately make C-SPAN a whole hell of a lot less boring if there was somebody, instead of the sign language person, you had one of those micro expression readers be like, oh, no, she's lying like some bitch, or yep, they're telling the truth, because those are much bigger lie detectors. And a very good morning to you, Big Fat Brian. How you doing? I have like 2 cigarettes left, ladies and gentlemen, and I still have a third of a bottle of vodka. So Yeah, we're not going to go super long. And I think, and bless her heart, I think Kadant's done for the day. I think she is nestled all snug in her bed with visions of whatever Kadant visions are dancing in her head. Oh, hey, Cloak and Dagger. Yeah, but dead in a good way. Let's see here. I just so happen to have a link copy. If you're of the kind, it is in your DMs, Big Fat Brian. And Cloak, I'd invite you on, but I know. You missed it. I was telling Tales from Telemarketing before you came on. All the crooners are dead, except for Michael Bublé and Harry Connick. I think those are the only two real crooners, or people who consider themselves as, hipster cat lounge acts. Yeah, I kind of miss that because, I won't. Frank Sinatra is not a bad singer, but he's not a super awesome singer either. He had a very limited vocal range, and the way that he looked and the way that he sang, and I mean, he had pussy dripping off the trees around his house, for God's sake. I would have loved to have been a crooner. I don't know. I don't. Nowadays, crooning is not a popular form. I'm sure, everything goes in cycles, that it'll come back. I mean, for God's sakes, in the 90s, swing music came back for a cup of coffee. And I still kind of like the modern swing music that had come out. Like the Brian Setzers and Squirrel Nut Zippers, Cherry Poppin' Daddies. That was kind of fun, and it was decent music to dance to. And there was this one nice little thin waif of a ginger who fancied me, and she was trying to teach me how to dance, trying to teach me how to Lindy, and basically like do kind of ragtime dancing. I actually knew how to do the Charleston, but yeah, nice kid, but I'm like, no, I'm not learning that. I am an old dog. I can learn new tricks, but I don't have very much space left in my mental locker room to store that kind of shit. So I would rather do it from something that's actually fun. Ugh. Crooners were before my time. All I saw them from tunes. Yeah, doing the ba 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 ba. Yeah. Well, hell, what was it? Was it good?
Yeah.
Was it Goodfellas that had the scenes where girls were panty dropping for crooners? I don't remember. then again, I'm trying to get this bottle of liquor finished off because it's good and good for you.
Yeah, I grew up watching some of the old flicks my dad would watch and stuff, and it was like,
What was the one? Stage Door Cantina. It was done in the 40s. It was almost like a war propaganda film, and they had all the hit bands that also did touring with USO. That was a pretty interesting movie because it was literally nostalgia. It was a slice of life. I mean, the only slice of life nostalgia shit you get now is urban areas where people kill other people. It's not a Bartles and James commercial anymore. Like, oh, back in the day, we used to. But that's the deal. Our movies do record our history. At least some of them do. And just like Linkletter's Dazed and Confused, I don't know where he went to fucking school, but that shit didn't happen where I went to school. I mean, seniors running around with paddles beating other lower classmen. Yeah, did not happen. I'm just kind of amazed because people who actually didn't live to, well, I tell you what, if you want a better slice of what 80s high school was like, do Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that one there was kind of
because yeah, I did know. No, I kind of had the the hall pass when it came to groups. I could float back and forth from any group. I mean, I was smart. I loved to smoke pot, and I really appreciated music. The only one I really never fit in with very well was the jocks. I just you have to be in one of those groups to be in that actual group, and I stopped wrestling when I hit high school. I stopped football when I hit high school. I stopped track when I hit high school. I'm just like, you know what? I'd rather, to be completely honest, I'd rather focus on building up my macking skills for when I became an adult and was on the prowl. And jocks really, I don't know if this is a truism everywhere, but the jocks that I graduated with, unless they were actually marrying the girl that they were dating during high school, they weren't real good pussy hounds. Once they graduated and they no longer had the Letterman's jacket to lean back on, they kind of floundered. Whereas people like myself who were, jokey joke makers and basically pleasant conversationalists to be around, we were the ones getting laid once graduation happened.
Yeah, I was in that wanderer type, if I called it. It's funny. One time, the JV football game, I had to get out of my football uniform, football gear, into my band uniform to play the national anthem for the varsity game.
Nice.
Yeah. I was one of the drummers, so I was like, yeah, and then bass drum got there, and me and this other guy had to sit there and change over. So I was I could fit into any one group, but I didn't belong really to any one of them. So it was.
Oh yeah, well, I played bass drum in a marching band, but yeah, Hey, B, can you get closer to your mic?
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Because I got you ganked up all the way, but it didn't seem to be helping. Um, I moved up from flag carrier to bass drummer, and yeah, there's a world of difference between that. But I was part of a competitive drill team because one of my older brothers and my Irish twin of a sister were both in it. So mom was like, "Yeah, I think you need to be in it too." Yeah, all right. I wasn't too happy about it because we like wore these blue polyester bell sleeve shirts, and this was the 70s, right? So we also wore white bell bottoms, and we had white shoes, not sneakers, but we had to march in actual dress shoes. So, yeah, I wasn't happy about that.
So I went straight from high school, a couple months off in the summer, right into boot camp, Marine Corps. So that was kind of.
Oh, so you were in fact a jarhead.
Yep, that's right. Turned 18 in boot camp too.
Why, hello.
Good morning.
Evening, afternoon.
And how are you doing today, Brian?
Pretty good. How about you?
I will be honest at this point because I'm almost finished with my liquor and my cigarettes. Mm-hmm. I was a little disappointed by the interview today. Not disappointed by the audience, just how the actual interview went. I know when I'm talking too much that it's not a good interview, and I wasn't even hammered. But there was a lot of dead air.
Well, I actually was at work all day today. So I'm assuming this is interview on Irate Prostate's channel?
No, I did Doctor on Call tonight.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good morning, Chop Top. And good morning, William, and your penis.
Yep. I brought along my my fellow Discord mates.
And hello, Lotus Wolf. I don't think we've ever had Lotus Wolf on.
She actually just asked me if she could come on, but
yeah, please throw the link.
Send her the link. Okay, will do.
Because I don't know if she follows me, but I don't think I follow her. So friends.
Let's see here.
So yeah, I think it could have gone better. I mean, he's got 35 years of comic book writing experience, and we barely cracked it. And then, okay, here's the creepiest part. He invited one of his friends to come, but he accidentally sent him the Google Hangout link.
Uh-huh.
So the guy sat in the Google Hangout link, staring at the camera. He wasn't saying anything, but he kept making these weird expressions with his face. Until the point where I typed in side chat on the Hangout, well, if you're going to stay here, then turn your camera off. Because it was, dude, watch like the first 15 minutes, and you'll see this guy makes about 30 different facial expressions. I don't know if it was like a nervous tick or something that he naturally has. I'm sure he wasn't trolling. No, it wasn't a stroke.
Well, I mean, sometimes.
Hi, everybody.
Why, hello, Lotus.
Hello, Lotus Wolf, and welcome. This is the first time we've had you on here.
Streaming. Yay! I was talking to Max Bar. He's like,
well,
he's like, hey. I said, I'm streaming.
No, he wasn't having a stroke. Now, the only person that I've seen online consistently make me think they were having a stroke is Ethan from H3H3.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's got that weird fucking tick. And I'm thinking 20 seconds from now, he's going to keel. He's just going to drop straight out of his chair. And the only thing you're going to see is like a Warner Brothers cartoon and his feet sticking up from the floor.
Did you see when he had Jordan Peterson on his podcast?
Oh, dude, did you see when he had Bill Burr on?
I did. I saw that. Well, part of it.
Shit show, Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see this.
Oh, it's worth going back and watching. It's one of the most uncomfortable interviews that I've ever seen anybody have. Because Ethan was trying not to fanboy, but he was failing miserably. And he was asking, those kind of questions that the girls would ask Elvis backstage. Ethan was wet. He was definitely wet.
Oh yeah, that seat was covered.
Everybody could tell, and Bill Burr could tell, and he was pretty much done with Ethan about 10 minutes into the interview. But Bill's a pro. As a matter of fact, I did send him an email via his website to see if he wanted to come on my show. I promised that it would definitely be less uncomfortable than the H3H3 interview.
I haven't watched any of H3H3 videos for a long time.
Well, you're not really missing a lot.
No, not really.
I mean, I don't know about you, and please feel free to give me your opinion. But you've seen quite a few of their live streams, right?
Not their live streams, no.
Brian?
No, I've only seen the podcasts. I used to, like, every once in a while I'd pick up a video of his, but not very often.
I'm sorry. I'm a boomer. I call podcast live streams. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, then, yes, I've seen a couple.
And
yeah,
Buzz?
the same thing.
Buzz?
Yeah.
Have you seen him?
Uh-uh.
Well, here's the thing. I love their produced videos, but the whole thing with them podcasting or live streaming, it feels like a cash grab. It feels like a content filler. It doesn't feel like they're expending energy on it.
It might be because that's where all the money's coming these days.
Yeah. Well, or podcasts, but yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying, and that sort of is what it is, man. I mean,
oh my God, the wonderful, illustrious, glorious Kadut has joined us.
Sup, bitches? Sorry.
What up, Kadut?
Sorry, I was talking with Muffin and didn't even pay attention to streams or anything like that because I remember Doc was 50-50 about whether or not he was even going to.
Well, I came up with a good graphic that I might be able to use later on, but I didn't put your head in it yet, so.
Oh, you don't need to put my head in it. It's fine.
I'm not done with it yet. Wait a minute, you're a bit mad at Hex and Blackout. I literally jumped the shark in my third upload. I don't think I'll ever get a clip as funny as that. Oh, that's the Have You Seen Kyle clip. Cloak and Dagger is a clip channel, if you guys didn't know. And he clipped like a couple of my stories, and he also clipped Blackout. He also clipped, I think, a Tonka rant too. That was not on the Kumite because Kumites are already well enough covered with clippers. But
there's like 20 channels.
But let me ask you guys. Let me ask all of you this: is the trend of everybody live streaming? Is it more detrimental to true content creation on YouTube?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, okay, I'm just going to put this out there. It takes a lot of effort to make a video. To make a good video, you actually have to edit properly. You have to go through. It actually has to be funny. On a live stream, you know, you can read a funny super chat or you know, have the drama of the day, and you'll get people to show up. But you know, to make a good video is actually, you know, kind of hard, because editing alone can take, you know, for let's say a 5-minute video, that could take 4 hours.
Well,
or a couple of weeks if it's to do with if it's me.
Yeah, or I mean, what is his name? Mumkey Jones, right? He does some crazy long form videos, and I guarantee you that guy spends 3 to 5 days just on editing per video, maybe longer.
Oh, I do have to say good morning to Max Bear 027, and of course God Botherer 1. Please have wrenches. I
Big mistake. Never give God Bother a wrench.
well, I would honestly promote a guy like have you watched any of the videos by PSA Sitch?
Yeah.
You can tell there's a shit ton of editing that goes into it. He does animations with it, and that stuff is amazing. And you know, that's why I'm such a pussy when it comes to it. I've got a series that I'm going to come out with, which is basically something that nobody's going to watch, but I'm going to make it anyway because I want to make it.
There you go.
And I've already started doing all the it's basically on a comic book company that no longer exists, and I'm going to go through the reasons why it doesn't exist and all of their characters, because half of them are such shit that they're incredibly laughable, and I think people would enjoy, you know, sharing, you know, like a superhero who, when the moon comes out, turns into a tarantula and he fights crime by eating bad guys.
Well, it could work, I guess.
I mean, that kind of shit to me is hilarious that they actually got away with it. And yeah, I mean, I've already started scanning in pages from the comic books of what I'm going to use for my stills. And oh man, the effort and the work that's going to go into it. I mean, you can only hope that it's going to pay off. And I don't know if I'm going to be H.P. Lovecraft and just keep trying to rewrite it until I die.
Well, you know, I wouldn't worry too much about that because, for instance, I made a dog video in which I had fun making and didn't really think that it was going to go very far or anything like that. And it got 8,700 views.
Nice.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. It was me doing a Russian accent while my dog ate meatballs. That was it.
No. Cloak, I've not seen E:R. I've seen TLDR.
He does good content.
Yeah,
He's boring.
He's fun, but he can get pedantic because he wants to make sure that he's got all of his sources cited. And so, yeah, he can be a little long and drawn out, but I mean, the points are good. I mean, even Medicare can be guilty of it from time to time of being a little too long-winded trying to make a point. But you know, his sarcasm basically cures all ills. So, would you guys rather just be streamers, or is there an ambition to make sure that you do regular video content?
I haven't done any content for over a year, and I've only done one. I've streamed 4 times, but I go to other people's streams whenever I feel like it. I'm too lazy to do anything else.
Yeah, mine I think is more of the fear of my OCD. like I said, you know, Lovecraft only had like 3 stories published before he died. And then people went through his shit and it was like, look at all these stories. And, you know, most of his shit was published posthumously. I mean, I don't want to be like that. But still, I mean, there's the fear of trying to put something together that meets your standards.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you really have to ask yourself, you know, are your standards the requirement for quality on a platform? I mean, because, you know, like I said, I made a dog video, and I have some videos that are pretty intricate when it comes to cooking. A lot of instruction, you know, a lot of effort to make them. Probably a whole day worth of editing and you know, full 10-minute video. Back when the format was you drop a 10-minute video once a week, and you know, some of them have like maybe 30 views, and it's from early on when I started. They never got into circulation, so I would say, just, you know, as long as you're having fun with it, just go with it, because worrying about too much perfection, especially on YouTube, where there are so many garbage channels out there with like a huge sub count, then, you know, it's not really that important.
Well, it's like the one that really fascinates me is the father and son team who cut shit up just to see what's inside of it. I forget what the name of the channel is, but they have like 12 million subs. And
Well, do you remember the 1,000 Degree Knife channel?
Oh yeah, I watched that one too.
Yeah.
No, I did have a lot of respect, because when they got their what is it, the gold play button when you hit 1 million? They sawed that fucker in half. They're like, what's inside this? Oh, well, pretty much nothing. Okay, so we just sawed our button in half. Who cares?
Didn't they do something where they melted it, or I don't know, in some other one where they've got this machine that squashes it and something?
The hydraulic press channel, yeah.
Yeah, they did something like that.
It's such simple concepts that go over like gangbusters. It's still, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to these people who came up with these ideas, but I think those are things that you'd find on a channel in Idiocracy. Yeah,
I would agree.
You know, you got people that's got views that are like
balls.
3-4 million subs just for someone putting those water balls in the water in the pool, you know, and they're swimming in it.
Well, I always think back. I blame David Letterman, because Letterman used to have a segment on his show where he would throw things off a 5-story building. That was the whole bit. And he did my favorite gimmick was at the very end. He played the 1812 overture while throwing watermelons off. And they were hitting in sequence and crashing and just exploding all over the place. Brilliant stuff, mindless stuff. Do you think it's more of an Idiocracy thing now? Because I'll be honest with you, when I first started watching YouTube, it was just filled with stupid shit. You know, nobody was doing all these you know, political streams and making all these reaction videos, because I will say this, reaction videos, most of those people are douchebags, because those are people who can't think of their own content, and so they are completely leeching off. I don't care if they, you know, fall under the, well, this is transformative. It's not really transformative. It's just an idiot, you know, laughing and making commentary on something that a person spent time making. like going back to crafting videos. So yeah, I mean, I do have to ask: is YouTube noticeably dumber since you actually joined and started being a part of the community?
I know because I've only been in this community for maybe 2 years, but there's a lot of other stuff. I've only ever watched documentaries and shit on here.
Oh my wife ODs on the true scary story stuff and those type of documentaries. Kadant, you've been on the internet forever. What's your opinion?
That's, so I've been on the internet, I guess, since July. No. Forgive me. January. They're both J's. That's when I first started watching things and whatever, and it continues to spiral downhill. Like, I first came in very ignorant of a lot of things. I had no idea what the kumite was. I still don't even know what it is anymore. Like, I've maybe caught like 20 minutes altogether of a few kumite episodes and still have no idea. I used to hear a lot about Worski, and from what I'm aware of, he's kind of like, I don't hear anything about him anymore. And it feels like, and he was like a main drama draw.
Oh
And it feels
yeah,
like,
funny you should say that. He was on Killstream tonight.
huh. Well, the thing that I've noticed though is since people stopped really talking about him, when it comes to look at this drama, when it comes to uh Worski, well, now it feels like there's vacuum and people, so many people are trying to fill it and hunting for their own kind of drama and just to be shitlords and just to try and stir the next shitstorm. And I'm not talking about trolls, because there's a huge difference
Oh yeah.
between like trolls and people who are just like, hold on, I'm eating some fucking Mexican food right now, and I got my spicy butthole going, and I'm waiting to melt into the toilet, so into this fucking pot, so that this way I can stir it, because it's all they fucking want. Like, that's what they're doing. That's what they're trying to do, and it's
yeah. There's a big difference between a troll and a shitlord.
yeah. And
I mean, Jeff Holiday used to wear the hat that said shitlord, and I'm like, dude, you're not even close. You're a
no,
shithead, but you're not a shitlord.
and even what's it, Ren and Igor, like they do this stream called Shitlords Anonymous, and I'm just like, you guys are not shitlords, like they're not. They're probably two of the coolest people I know, and they'll talk about like some shitty stories or shitty news articles and stuff like that, but that's not the same. Shitty news article discussions does not a shitlord make. And there's plenty of people who get lumped into one category, and lumped into the shitlord category, and it's just like, no, that's what you're doing is different. Like, I don't, well,
Maybe there's
people are just they're so hungry. They're so hungry for unnecessary blood, for unnecessary drama, that they'll start searching for their own or creating their own, just because it's just like, well, that's what they came into the internet. That's what they came into. Like, I remembered for the longest time, Cunstream had kind of taken up a little bit of that slack. And it was like one stream after another, and they'd be like, here's the next drama, here's the next drama, here's the next drama. And even they have pulled away from that.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think I think they've got other problems besides, you know, uh, trying to find their identity. That was one of the biggest wasted opportunities when they got the push from Kumite and that whole Zeph thing. They really could have taken that into the stratosphere.
Oh yeah. Well, they had about 600 people watching them a night for probably 3 or 4 weeks there.
Yeah.
And then it just petered off because they didn't know how to break out of the format that they always follow, which is we didn't notify anyone, and we sort of didn't have a topic, and here you go, here's a stream.
Yeah. Well, and also the rampant drunkenness by those who are supposed to be in charge. I mean, I'm a drunk straight up, but I work my shit. I mean, you don't want to be sloppy and slurring and literally falling off the screen because you're so goddamn drunk. That's one of the reasons why I stopped watching YouTube Saints before they got all the blowback. Because I mean, their big joke was, oh, you know, is it going to be Floor Jeff or Floor Nick tonight? And I'm like, are you guys fucking serious? People are throwing money at you to be entertained, and you're just getting shit faced and literally passing out on the floor.
This is where your money's going, guys.
Well, I can't, you know, I'd be a hypocrite here if I said that I didn't run a couple of drunk streams. But usually the ones I've done actually have like entertainment value to them, because what I'll do is, since I run a cooking channel, I'll actually cook something while I'm smashed. And that usually ends up pretty well. Like, I'm pretty sure Lotus was on one of the streams where we had a rotisserie chicken, and the rotisserie
broke or something.
Yeah, it broke in the middle of the stream, and the chicken was flopping against the door of the door of the toaster oven the entire time.
I'll have to go back and find that one. That was
it's unlisted now.
Yeah. Oh, god damn it!
Yeah, well, you know, there was a couple things said, so, some stuff. I was a bit drunk, you know. Maybe we don't leave that on the internet.
Leave everything on the internet.
No.
It's not like it doesn't come back and bite in the arm.
No, it never does it?
Well, you know, one of the actually Country was one of the first streams that I had been invited to go on to, and when back then, like, you know, they were still pulling a couple of decent numbers, and they just pulled me on because I was talking shit in the chat. Like that was it. That was the draw. And the numbers kept slowly dwindling down more and more and more. And then with all the drama, like they started getting like more views when the drama started coming, but then it would drop back down drastically. And one of their best shows was their Cunt News Network. And even then, like, I think one of the main things that Schmeckel had always like told me and Lo-Fi, because Lo-Fi was also on a show with me. She was given a show, and then she chose me as her co-host. One of the things that we were warned about was at any moment it can turn into a regular cunt stream, which is just, we heard about some stuff and we want to talk about some stuff, and whatever topics that you guys want to talk about is just completely thrown out the window.
Ugh.
I don't know what Godbother is talking about. He says the cunt stream died when they did an acid stream about Harley Quinn's happy hour.
Oh, no, the Harley Quinn's happy hour was supposed to have gotten a show too. She was pretty much about to be, you know, inducted into the Cunt Stream family. And then it came out she at the very least was threatening to dox if she didn't just straight up dox. I don't know all the details. I tried not to pay attention to it because at that point I was already out of the country. Like, I wasn't on any shows anymore because my own drama, you know, my own learning incident, as I like to refer to it. But I was already like not really part of the con stream anymore, you know, still talked and interacted and maybe got into the stream every once in a while, but I wasn't like, you know, part of any of the shows. And so I don't know all the details. I just remembered that she was causing some shit.
Well, yeah, I honestly did not really spend much time around the cunt stream. The funny thing was the first people to ever invite me on was BYBS.
Oh boy.
Well, I don't think they were ready. I don't think they were ready for me, because my whole thing is I don't tolerate people with masturbatory points of view
and autism.
Yeah, I mean, I literally ripped into, I think it was Joaquin, Diogenes, and one other. Talking about, listen, you guys are too young. You can debate about this all you want, but when push comes to shove, you guys don't know what you're fucking talking about, nor do you have any type of actionable plan. So fucking shut up and move on to something else. And I really didn't ever get invited back, but
I don't think you're missing a whole lot.
Yeah, well, I could. I'll be honest with you. I never really understood a single fucking word Ancapistan ever said. So I was okay with missing that boat. But yeah, I tell you what. Let's do this. If there's one show out there that you think that nobody is watching, of course, that's not your own, that you think people should be watching, Brian?
Wild Tanuki. He does cooking live streams.
He does?
Yeah, he does. And his cooking live streams are usually pretty funny because either he's hungover or he's drinking at the time. And
he's always drunk, but
yeah, well, and so he'll be like, oh, I'm so hungover, I can't. What should I do with this? And one time he was cooking a breakfast ham, and I told him to add syrup to it. So he did, but I didn't realize that he had, the cheap, shitty syrup that's made out of corn syrup.
Yeah.
So it got all like grossly crispy, and he still ate it. So.
I've been on a couple of streams with him, and yeah, every single time he was drunk or getting there. But yeah, he's an entertaining young lad.
He is.
B, who would you recommend?
Buzz.
Oh, I'm still kind of new to all these streams here. I'm still finding my way through them. So.
Well, but that's not a bad thing, you know. Even if you call yourself a novice, there must be something out there that you want to make sure you tune into when the bell rings.
Nah, I work third shift, so I just kind of pop in and try to watch whatever's on. I'm usually sleeping in the daytime where all the other ones are streaming, so it's kind of, I don't have a rule of flavor just yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say there really isn't shit on at night, and then you get dumbasses like me is like, well, nobody's doing anything, might as well.
No, I've heard you. I ran into you before, so okay, I'll catch what he's streaming and give him some views, because that's I try to spread my third shift time around at work to watching and giving people some views time, you know.
Yeah, I've had people say, I just can't watch this, but I'll go ahead and leave it running so you get the hours off it.
Well, I try to watch them and watch the replays, but it's, like sometimes at work, like tonight's a slow night. I ain't got nothing going on really. I'm going to go do my rounds in a minute, but sometimes I get these drunks just coming out everywhere. It's like, God, they won't leave me alone.
And so, Kadut, who would you recommend?
So I haven't seen any new videos from him lately, but Buzz.
Well, thank you, but I got a new one coming up. It's just taking a little bit more time to get the final tweaks to it.
So
There's
what?
nothing wrong with that.
But it's not a stream, though. It's not a stream. It's just a video.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be a stream. It just
Okay.
a content provider that you think people should watch.
He does some really fun and pretty cool looking videos. And I know Sparky has been doing some stuff too, and he doesn't get too many views either. And Diamondus Anubis, he'll do these game streams, you know. But I'm not that big in the game streams, and plus Diamondus is really, really bad at shilling himself. He's really bad at it. Like, I've yelled at him more than a few times over, like, show your content. I didn't see a link for this. I just decided to just randomly scroll through YouTube because my bell never works for anything. And you're fucking lucky that I'm even here in the chat yelling at you, you bastard.
Well, I did send you a link, but I thought, well, you know, since last night you had actually learned the art of sleeping and had forsaken the insomnia.
Oh Lord, no, I could never forsake the insomnia. I was just talking with Muffin, and didn't realize you decided on for sure doing your insomnia stream.
Well, I'm down to 1 cigarette and probably about 4 shots. So yeah, I'm thinking it probably will end soon. But well, let us ask the newest person to join the insomnia stream. Lotus Wolf, who would you recommend?
I haven't watched live streams much for a long time. I'd recommend probably Big Fat Brian. He's he needs to have more people watching what he does.
Oh,
he's very entertaining.
Yeah, honestly, I'll admit that until Geek Thulu came to me a long while back and said, "Yeah, I'm going to do a show with Big Fat Brian. You know, can you make me up some graphics?" And I was like, "Well, okay, who's that? Let me watch." And yeah, I am. I'm going to use an old person word. I am tickled by Big Fat Brian's videos.
Well, thank you.
I think all of them, all the ones that I viewed so far have been always entertaining. And plus, you know, I was raised by Briars and hillbillies to cook, so I'm always down for a good cooking show.
Yeah, I've just lost the incentive to watch many live streams. I'll go in and troll a little bit and then leave. So
I just get tired. You know, maybe it's because it's old and I'm old and I'm gonna die soon. But I get tired of fucking rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait a minute. You know, like when and I shit you not. There's one day, like 3 weeks ago, that I pulled up YouTube and every fucking video in my, you know, you need to watch this or top of or whatever, that it was all Mundane Matt. An entire fucking page of Mundane Matt. Yeah. And I'm like, no, he's not worth this.
That's why I haven't been watching him for a while, because it's just drama, and 90% of it's fucking bullshit.
Hello, Metaphorist.
I just stopped watching.
I didn't see Metaphorist sneak in. And I tell you what, I cannot recommend anybody to watch. But if you want to go to any of the rebroadcasts of any of the Doctor on Calls or any of the live ones, I have a huge list down there of people that I like and people that I recommend and people that really need more subs than what they have. I will pimp that list out more than I've ever pimped out my Patreon or my Streamlabs, because I think it's more important to you know, if you don't appreciate something, if you don't support it, then it eventually goes away, right?
Yeah.
So
well, I'm just gonna point out Cloak and Dagger is saying Doc will try to undermine my naming him in my top 4, but he is my second highest viewed clip. Numbers don't lie.
oh, that was because
Nice.
that was because he clipped me about going to the YMCA that turned into a sex club.
And then the toilet too.
Oh,
I too would like to address something in the chat here. William Stenchover says Brian and Tanuki are lovers. Well, that is
true.
definitely true. But also, you're the middle on the Eiffel Tower.
are you? Are you? I would think he'd be more the wobble in the H.
Yeah, well, same thing.
No, they're two different things.
Well, the Eiffel Tower is where you high five.
No, the Eiffel Tower is man on bottom, person in middle riding, and then the person who's riding is also sucking off somebody else. That's the Eiffel Tower.
That's not what I learned in grade school.
Yeah, what I learned is what you're thinking of, Brian. Is the bridge in the middle where you or Tanuki are either one, you're high-fiving each other while you're both plowing William in his 2 holes.
Exactly.
That I always heard was the London Bridge, and if one of you pees on him, then it's the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, well, I'll do that next time.
Now, wait a minute. I always thought that covering holes front and back was the wobbly H.
What? No, that's well, I mean, it depends. Sometimes it's called an ice cream sandwich, but that's usually involving,
That'd be too cold and squishy, though.
Okay, well, Chop Top Nada apparently is throwing in his degree, saying that the tower is a spit roast and then ends in a high five.
See, I was right.
Yeah, but I don't trust Chop Top Nada.
In my day, we just called it DP.
Well, see, that's what he was describing. The second thing, that's just DP.
Well, no, okay, back in the day, and this was before Kevin Smith, and this is what made me laugh when I saw Chasing Amy, was we used to call it finger cuffs.
What?
We used to call it finger cuffs because if she was tight enough, you just couldn't pull out.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
or the traditional 50s spit roast. Because they actually had sex back in the 50s. I don't have any actual photographs or anything to prove it, but I was told that it happened. So
I believe it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and err on the side of good judgment, because I'm thinking sex is so much fun that my generation didn't invent it. I mean, we certainly had our flourishes, but it's just like somebody was talking about how what's the kinkiest thing that you've ever done, and I got a checklist. But one of the weirdest ones that I ever did. Have you guys ever heard of a basket fuck?
No. Please describe that.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Give me one sec. Buzz, you're getting a lot of noise on your mic.
Yeah, I gotta run anyways though. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, Buzz, fuck off.
I set my phone down and it went into the
Bye,
basket,
Buzz.
so. Catch you all later. Thanks for having me
Later,
on.
Buzz.
Hey, thanks for coming on, Buzz. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Now
And
get that other
make
video
sure to go
out.
and check out his channel.
You have a marriage proposal in the chat there.
And by the way, Buzz, do make sure and spam your link. You got a wrench. You can do that.
Okay, well, I'll have to do it later. I'm on my phone now, so.
Ah, you bastard.
I know, I'm at work. I can't help it.
Yeah. Well, I guess somebody has to work.
Talk to y'all later.
All right.
Later,
Have a good
guys.
morning. You know, we're playing the dramatic music. What's the answer, Cadet?
The answer to what?
In the chat, William has asked a question.
Oh, I already answered him. I told him he has to ask Anti-Hero.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm claimed, Willie. I keep letting him know, but
Poor Willie.
But
He's always trying, but never succeeds.
But
okay,
but
he's
would
got
you
his
accept him as the alternate cuck role? Would you allow him to watch
and cry in the corner?
Oh,
oh God, they did that. Did you guys hear they did the Monday Matt tapes when they were talking about?
I don't care about Monday night.
I'm inclined to agree.
Well, it's just a real quickie because they verified the fact that oh God, who's the one who was in charge of Kilroy?
Base Mama.
Base Mama.
Yeah, that Base Mama and Nick, the Wizard of Cause.
Yeah.
Wizard of Cause.
We're trying to get it on, and Matt was in the same room.
I'm sure a lot of things happened there at Kilroy.
Yeah.
Well, no, Failure came on and said, well, I know the story, and let's just say that Matt remained unfulfilled. And I'm like, you know what? Video or it doesn't exist, nigga. I'm telling you that right now. I want to see it. I want to see Matt literally weeping in the corner while two drunken assholes can't figure out how to fuck.
Oh dear.
That's just a request.
I just don't want to know.
Well,
So
now, William, even if Anti-Hero has a teeny weeny, apparently he has the skill set to pull it off.
I'm just gonna point out that I've seen it and that's not true, but it's not the size that counts. So keep that in mind, William.
Well,
Just
now
because yours is the size of a clit, it doesn't mean you can't work with it.
wait a minute. Have you ever seen? Have you ever seen the Joni Lauer, China from WWF? Have you ever seen that porno?
No.
She got a clit like a dick.
Yeah, that's a baby penis.
Yeah. I mean,
hey, don't judge trans people, okay?
I mean, you inject so many steroids and you're bound to grow a penis at a certain point.
Oh, okay. I'll do this one story. I went out with a girl and she was kind of muscular, and we ended up going back to the house, and she frightened me with her clit dick. I'm just like, damn, bitch, how many steroids have you done? That's one of those, shut up and get over here.
Oh God.
I'm like, to be honest with you, I would not have been surprised if a penis would have showed up at that point. And well, technically it kind of did.
Oh no. It didn't get hard, did it?
Okay,
oh no.
Right, I hate
oh no, Doc.
Oh no. This is just gonna get worse. I was sitting there and I was just mesmerized. I mean, I was drunker than shit, of course. And I was just mesmerized, and I kept flicking it. And, and apparently she was getting off on that. So
I'm sure she was.
Well, yeah, you're playing with her baby penis.
Yeah, I was flicking her clit dick, and I actually got her off. And I was scared because of the fact that when she hit an orgasm, I didn't know whether or not that would trigger something.
Uh-oh.
Whether or not I had to duck. Like she was going to Jackson Pollock me.
Spider-Man.
Well, fun fact, clitorises do tend to get engorged. Usually not to the size of a penis, but they do tend to when they're aroused.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say anything about my current relationship, but I can tell whether or not she's grooving on what I'm doing by the reaction of her clit, and it's, you know, it's a normal clit, but you can tell. It's just like, you know if a guy's having a good time because he's got a hard dick because the blood's flowing.
Do you mind if I address something in chat really fast?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Willie, why do you think I'm choosing not to date you? Because I do have a habit of dating losers, and I don't want to continue that cycle.
Oh, Willie.
Oh.
Damn.
I'm a cunt.
Don't worry, William. I'll get the napkins for you.
Well, there's one woman that wants you, William. I won't say names, but you know who I'm talking about.
Well, and another thing, man, calling somebody chunky is definitely not an insult. I will say this, that I have dated women who have appeared on magazine covers, and not just porno magazine covers.
Mm-hmm.
And they simply do not know how to fuck. But if you get a woman with some meat on her frame, she definitely knows how to do the do. And she's just as committed as getting you off, which is kind of a catch-22. That's one of the reasons why, like, when we do foreplay, I will perform oral on a woman until she actually has an orgasm, because then it doesn't make a difference what I do after that, how fast I orgasm, because she already got hers. So
when it comes to thicker ladies, from what I've heard, they're better at blowjobs, and it's probably because they're used to stuffing things in their face.
Well, here's the thing.
Such a cunt.
No, because bigger women, apparently, they are less chaste, and not STE, but but they have less of an opportunity to do it. So
they're more willing to try and please.
So when it happens, they do it vigorously. They do it enthusiastically.
They put in effort.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny with it's kind of weird, because with the black women that I've been with, they already think that a big thick ass is gold, but in order to please, my God, they are definitely focused on the oral. And that's all I got to say about that. Wait a minute. Yeah, William, get out there and flick a few beans and see what happens.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I would say, most of the people I've talked to, including me, likes the thicker ladies.
Well,
just saying.
Well, no, there's nothing wrong with that, because, I mean, the first expressionistic paintings that I was ever introduced to were from Ruban, and he had these big, shapely women, and I love the ability to basically explore some of those curves, kind of like like Richard Petty hitting Highway 101. He wants to rip those curves, and I literally get turned off. Like I was saying, some people have actually slept with models, and I hooked up with one who was so fucking skinny. I could see her rib bones, I could see her hip bones, and I instantly got floppy dick off of it. And she's like, what's the matter? And I was like, I need to go make you a sandwich.
Damn.
Because that it doesn't turn me on, because it feels like I just showed up in Ethiopia after that 10-year famine. I don't want to fuck you. I want to feed you.
Yeah, that, and the really skinny ones, you got to worry about breaking in half. So
I don't know, man. I had one woman who was reasonably skinny. She was a MILF, and MILFs are in their own category.
Oh yeah,
because they are super fuck bunnies. But I had problems with her because she was so thin that when she was riding on top, she would grind and cause friction burns. So yeah, there's another reason why you don't want, well, like all good orthopedists say, you never want to have bone on bone.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've had that happen a couple of times. It's not good. I actually, so there was this one chick which we call, me and my friends call ATM Lisa. That's a whole different kind of nightmare. We're talking, rather than a large or skinny woman, a crazy woman, and I mean next level crazy.
Was it like Wayne's World crazy?
No, crazier.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wait. Was she Puerto Rican?
No, she was German and Spanish.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she, I actually met her. I went to a party and got really, really wasted. Actually, went to a party. It was at my house. Got really, really wasted, and she stayed till the very end of the party, and so did her friend, and that was a pretty good night.
Wait, was it your first threesome?
No, it was the second one.
Oh,
yeah.
I love me some threesomes. I'm sorry.
They're not bad, I gotta say. Except this one was a little bit awkward because her friend freaked out like halfway through and was like, "What am I doing?" And then, decided to like lay to the side of us, all awkward the entire time. And
it's like, bitch, if nothing else, pick up a camera.
Right? It was like, this is just weird. This is somebody sort of watching us. But yeah, so here's how crazy this chick was. She stayed at my house for 2 weeks after that. And pretty much, it was, we were never in a relationship, but it was like as though you start a relationship where it's like straight 2 weeks of sex. And all of a sudden, she's like, "Hey, is it cool if my boyfriend comes over?"
Uh-oh.
I was like, "What?"
Damn, that really sucks.
And I was like, well, I'm not dating this person, so not really a big deal. So I guess whatever she's into, I'm not going to do any guy on guy action here. But if she wants a wobbly H, whatever. So I was like, yeah, sure, invite your boyfriend over. Turns out that she just meant to like hang out with and play. We played football and played some Xbox, and that was about it. And then he left, and immediately after he left, she got in the mood again, and that's sort of how crazy she was. She got the name ATM Lisa because, well, you know what ATM is, right?
I'm pretty sure there's people in the audience who don't.
Ass to mouth. Yeah.
There you go, William.
So she used to, because she was bipolar. Surprise, surprise. She used to take a bunch of Narcos, right? And then she would essentially have me ass fuck her as hard as I could. And one day she stopped me, slid off, turned around, and cleaned it with her mouth.
What?
See, I've never been turned on by ass fucking. I just never have. I mean, I know in some relationships, there are women who are like, yes, I will give up the booty hole because I love you that much. And it's like, well, thank you, but no.
I won't. Nope. No one shoves anything up my ass.
Well, you can't if you've got that plug in.
There you go. But she was actually really, really into it because she would take a bunch of narco, right? So she couldn't get off without the pain.
Yeah.
We're talking next level crazy.
Why'd you do it?
Why not?
I don't know.
I had one girlfriend that was like, I really, 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 really want to try anal. And I was like, I'm kind of not into that. She's like, no, go ahead, do it for me. And I'm like, all right. So we start the process, and she whips out this big, huge plastic dildo and starts going at herself. But every time she pulls it out, she's hitting me in the balls. And I could only take like 2 or 3 shots. And I'm like, all right, done. And she's like, what? It was feeling good. And I was like, you were punching me in my nuts. This has to stop. This is not fun for me. And she's like, well, I promise I'll just go slower. And I was like, you know what? Next time, just buy a fucking dildo that's got a rabbit on it. Don't sit there, shoving this fucking trebuchet of a dildo in and out. You're killing me. You are chances of having children with every stroke. You're killing the sperm by hitting my ball sack with the violent intention that you are using right now. So please stop.
Yeah. So actually, how me and Lisa stopped talking was basically she blindfolded me, and I know how crazy she is, and I should not have let her do it. But she blindfolded me, and she climbed on top, and we we were going at it, and all of a sudden I feel this really weird sharp pain in my back. She pulled a razor blade out and cut me.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding you. And that was the last time I talked to her. So
thank you. Time to move along. Next.
Exactly.
I don't know. The only issue that I ever had with bladed weapons, I was dating a Puerto Rican girl. She had a key to the apartment, and she would come and go as she pleased. And I woke up one night with her sitting on the edge of my bed with a fucking kitchen knife. And she was like, do you love me?
Oh my God.
And I'm like, if you put the knife down, we'll talk about it. And she's like, because I don't know what I would do if you didn't love me. And I was like, probably not come over here anymore. And yeah, I actually had to do the thing where, where I grabbed a hold of her wrists very, very, very softly and very romantically and said, I care about you. I care about what you do. And then I twisted her wrist and disarmed her. And I'm like, but you got to get the fuck up out of here. So I made sure that I took her key. And there were times in those next few weeks where, I don't know, do you guys remember the miniseries It?
Yes.
Where they kind of look out the window and there would be Pennywise on the corner with some balloons. That's pretty much the vibe that she gave off, that she was just standing there watching, not saying anything, but like one of the worst surveillance agents ever. And that's when I knew I needed to move on to the next town.
Had to get out of the whole town, eh?
That is just messed up.
Yeah, fucking up and gone. Because I knew that one of these days she would Spider-Man up to the second floor and either pillow me or just keep plunging the knife in until she ran out of energy. So yeah, done with that shit. Now you guys have to keep conversation going for a moment.
Okay.
I have to go bio. No, are you fucking kidding me? God bother buying a gun around a Puerto Rican woman. If she ever learned the combination, then I would not have woken up that night. She just would have Goodfella'd me and put a bullet in my fucking head while I was laying there. So gotta say no. Okay, and gotta pee.
Damn, you guys have met some crazy bitches.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you have any crazy stories, Lotus? Like any at all with like an ex or anything like that?
Nope, I don't.
What about you, Brian? Well, other than obviously, ATM Lisa.
Oh, there's actually quite a bit. Crazy stories that I should tell on the internet.
Well, I would give a crazy story, but like, go for it, Brian. You were gonna say something.
You got it. You can go first. I already told one incriminating story. Go for
it. Incriminating. Wait, so we're telling incriminating stories, not just crazy
stories. I mean, they're basically the same thing, right?
Basically, yeah. I'm going to. Okay, here's a fun one. So one of my exes, he was actually a really bad ex. He was a really bad boyfriend, a really bad ex, like nothing but bad news. But when we had first met, we used to try and find we would play ninja a lot. I mean, like we would literally climb buildings and shit. It was kind of fun. And we had been in a public park late at night, just pretending to be ninjas because we're stupid adults and then stupid young adults. And we both climb up we're making out, and then we kind of chase each other, and when we catch each other we make out. And they have this building where they hold the bathrooms down below or whatever, and they're locked at night, but like for us it didn't matter. And I decided, well, that's where I'm gonna fucking climb. And I go and I climb up onto the roof of it, and then he climbs up onto the roof, following me. And then we start making out, and then we wind up fucking right there on the roof, in the middle of a public park.
Oh my.
Yeah. Like, I had only intended to climb up there to stare at the stars, but I guess he had other intentions that were really amazing at that point in time.
No, I fucked in the park once, but it was on one of those, one of those wood fortress things where you climb up to the ladder. And I was banging away on my first wife, and a guy came through walking his dog and stopped for a minute, and we both waved at him, and we were still going, but we both waved at him, and he stopped, looked at us, gave us the thumbs up, and then just walked on. And
Good man.
It's like, thank you for your approval, but yeah, we haven't finished yet.
I think the only kind of story that was kind of like that with me, and it's actually the same ex. Uh, we're 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 actually parked in the like parking spaces of some random apartments, and it's midday, and we decide we're gonna get ourselves some afternoon delight because we can put the seats down and basically fuck kind of secretive in the trunk, and we had a blanket and stuff like that. And the next thing we know, we hear tap 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 on the window, and it's the apartment management. And like he goes and he rolls down the window, and I'm like hiding under the blanket, and she's like, listen, I'm sorry to interrupt, but like we got a couple complaints from some of the tenants, so we need you to not do that here. And then she like peeks into the car and looks at me, and she's like, but good job taking one for the team. And I'm just like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, I don't even know what that means.
It's like, well, we have a few people who live here who are incels, and they were just kind of mad at the fact that somebody was getting pussy.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, that was fun times. Like what are the craziest places you guys have ever had sex?
Oh man.
No, let's start with ladies first.
I've got to get going anyway, guys. It's almost 7 in the morning and 7 at night, and I've got to be up by 4:30. So
okay, well, finish your story and then you can leave.
Yeah, let us.
Just name a spot. Just name a random spot.
I've only done in the bedroom.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Boo.
All right. I'm boring.
Vanilla.
Bye, guys. See you.
Lotus, do you have any links that you'd like to share in the chat before you go?
No, because only in Fat Brian's server. That's it. That's all I do. Discord.
Or maybe even drop your Twitter in so people can stop by and say hi.
It's Lotus Wolf or Lotus is a commie.
Yeah. Well, okay.
That's it.
Well, I certainly appreciate you stopping by, and hopefully you've got enough sleep to carry you through the workday.
Yeah, I should. All right. See you guys.
Bye.
See you later, Lettuce.
Later. All right, Brian, go.
I'm going to defer.
What was the question?
Craziest place you can think of, like probably either taboo, really public, or just how the fuck did you fuck there?
Okay. In a lake.
Okay.
Or, well, it was a toss-up. It's either in a lake or in a campsite bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the girls with a boom. I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom.
What about you, Doc?
Jesus. Fuck. Shit. You can
just list them off.
Honestly, you can pick the story. Church, library, graveyard, or movie theater.
All of them.
No, pick one. Because I've got like 2 shots left and 1 cigarette.
Okay. We'll go. What would you say is the shortest one?
Well, I can make them all short.
Okay. Because I'm curious about the library, but I'm also curious about the graveyard.
Oh, well, my soon-to-be wife was a librarian, and I came to pick her up at close, and there was nobody around. And this is back in the day when surveillance didn't exist everywhere on every corner. And I'm like, hey, let's go fuck in the nonfiction section. And she was like, okay. So yeah, we boned out there, and I was dosed out, and we were trying to stagger to get to an all night burger joint, and I was tired, and the person I was with at the time, I sat down on like a mausoleum slab, and she was like, "Ooh, isn't this sexy out here?" And I was like, "It's a fucking graveyard." And she's like, "Well, I think you're hard." And I was like, "Well, I think you can make me hard." And so, we fucked on a dead guy's grave.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I was respectful. When I blew my load, I did it in the grass next to it. I did not blow it on the mausoleum.
Very, very good.
I'm a gentleman, goddammit.
Sometimes.
Well, I try to be. Shit. Yeah. Oh God, I forgot that one. I fucked in a school assembly once.
High school?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say somebody wanted to go for a ride, and I obliged.
If it works, right?
Exactly.
Once again, it falls back to last night. Be aggressive. Be aggressive.
Whoa. Get that consent card out first.
Yeah. Be aggressive, but consensually.
Well, it's kind of weird because I was in the transition phase. I graduated in the mid '80s, and that's when women were just like, "I got a booty and I want some." And it's so funny because I was a fat kid, but I was a very jovial fat kid. I knew how to talk to people, and in high school, I didn't know this until later, and somebody told me this, that the girls had a ranking list of guys that basically a 1 to 10 ranking of guys that they had fucked. And apparently my name was passed around because I was getting a lot of booty, but when you're that young, you never really question why you're getting it. You're just thankful that you are getting it. And apparently I was like number 3 on their list. So the girls were rotating the list around and seeing if they could, I don't know, bang out the sexual all-stars of my high school. So yeah, I didn't find that out until like 10 years later. She was like, "Well, you really lived up to your reputation of being number 3." And I'm like, "I don't know what the fuck that means." And then she went in and explained the story, and I was like, "Well, damn. I mean, okay. I'm feeling not only like a whore, but I'm feeling like I'm a proud whore."
See, closest I got to that was I don't know, 8 years after I'd finished high school. I'd gotten out of high school. It was like 2012, and one of my old friends, like I had known him for years, and he had told me that like him and let's see, and like 12 of our other friends, like of our other guy friends, they all were trying to go after me. And I'm like, I don't know that. What do you mean? I thought we were all just friends. And like, no, we just wanted to get after you. But you're with well, my very first boyfriend and then my second boyfriend were both while I was in high school. And they were like, you were with them, so we couldn't, like, there was no way, like, you have this loyalty factor that we couldn't steal you away from them. And I'm just like, the fuck, dude? Like, you don't need to tell me that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's so weird because I invariably once you graduate, and if you come back to the same town where you went to school, most people don't flex out and go other places. They normally stay in the same city. And I would run into girls that I knew from school, and I'm like, oh, hey, hello, Dawn, how are you? And, being utterly milfy about the thing, they'd be like, I really wanted to try you out. And I'm like, what, huh? Yeah, I really wanted to have sex with you just to see if the rumors were true. And I was like, well, I'm single, but most of the women were already married.
Yeah.
And I'm like I've said before, I'm a serial monogamist. I will have the random encounters and flings, but it's kind of a boner killer when you see that ring on the on the left hand ring finger.
For you, maybe.
Well, yeah, because I'm old fashioned. Okay, I have one shot left, and I'm starting my last cigarette.
Okay. See, for me, because I got married right out of high school. Like I got married on my 18th birthday.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it was the second guy that I'd ever like actually dated, um, and we got married and stuff like that. And even though I had that ring on my finger, it did not stop a lot of guys trying to pick me up. Like it almost incited them to try harder. And it was like one of those things where I'm just like, I don't understand. Like this isn't a thing. And then my I I still talk with my ex-husband. But he was telling me that he'll put the ring on every once in a while when he goes out, just for the simple fact that it seems to draw women to him.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know why that is, right?
Because usually taken men have more confidence because they already know, like, they have something.
It's a safety valve because a woman can go out and fuck a married man and know that they can't fall head over heels with him. That they can get their chows on, and they don't have to worry about the man puppy dogging or hanging around them or wanting to move into their apartment. It's literally, well, I can fuck this person and they already have a life, so I can get some booty, uh, you know dip in, dip out, and I'm good to go.
All right, that's bullshit though, because I have learned from experience, which is probably why I'm a serial monogamist as well. Um, but I've learned from experience, sex can help to add emotions. Like there's one guy who it was during my quote unquote slut phase. And during my quote unquote slut phase, there were two guys that I slept with within a year. And I was really proud of myself because I'm like, yay, I finally like I can now count the number of men I've slept with on two hands instead of just the one. So like, because all my friends were like, oh, you gotta go through at least one slut phase. I'm in my 60s, she's in her like 90s, he's in the 50s and blah blah blah. Like they all boast about these numbers, and they all kind of like tease me over the fact that I've never really slept around. I've always, been monogamous. And so like one of the guys that I wound up hooking up with, uh, after we hooked up, it had been a year since he and I had hooked up, and like finally I see him again. I'm like, oh hey, how you doing? Like blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, I'm good. I've just been going through a couple of things. I've been thinking a lot about you, and I've been wondering, like, hey, so I'm planning on going like to Six Flags. And I got extra tickets and stuff like that. Like I think it'd be really cool if you could go with me
How
because like I
romantic.
really and I'm just like, thanks, like that sounds like it'd be fun. I can see what other friends we go like would want to go and blah blah blah. And he's like, well, yeah, I just been thinking about you a lot, and I kind of want to see like what we can do. And I'm just like, no, no, back away, no, no, what are you doing? We had sex, what, twice. Twice. We'd only ever had sex twice. And
No, I can understand that, but yeah, coming from the other side, and women are aggressive, and I will even show them, well, here's my ring, and it's like, well, nobody has to know. It's just going to be a one shot. Well, it's just like, yeah, I think you're missing the whole point of wearing a wedding ring.
But here's the thing. What's his name? Water Jabber. Yeah, the mate selection thing. That's actually completely real. That's basically, because you're taken, you're considered to be of quality. You would meet the standards of the average woman, and therefore you are better than what they're out there already selecting from.
Yeah, your husband. You're obviously husband material.
Yep.
Yeah, somebody's already tested the metal.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing about that I always found funny is, even if whoever's chasing the married person, even if they succeed, and then you guys wind up getting together and starting a life and blah 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 blah, there's always going to be that sense of, well, I was able to take them, why wouldn't they be able to be taken from me?
Well, yeah. So also, you guys probably know people who cheat always cheat again for the most part.
Yeah, and I've never had a woman who's come up to me and wanted any long-term commitment. They just want to get they just want to get the headboard rocking, and then they're done afterwards. It's like, yeah, it's a one-time thing, and men can have a tendency to become puppies and follow you all over the place, but women are just like, okay, I want to break me off a piece of that, and then when I'm done, we're done.
That's not true.
That is not true.
That's been true in like 90% of the cases that I've dealt with.
That you've dealt with, but maybe you're, and honestly, that I've dealt with that on kind of an opposite end. Even when I was in a long-term relationship, it was still very much like, oh, I'm your fuck toy. Okay. Like it's one of those things, and it's not, it's a positive on you, like
the new Cadunt fuck toy, batteries not included.
but it's one of those things where it's hashtag not all.
Hashtag all.
Hashtag not all, because
hashtag all.
There's plenty of people who, when they sleep with somebody, they're sleeping with that somebody, and that means something. There's also plenty of other people who they just need to get the rocks off.
Well, and women who are roughly my age in there, and I would say in the range of 30s up, they're just looking to knock the boots and go on about their business.
Well,
and
I've yet to experience that. I only recently got it into my 30s. So,
well, don't worry, you'll find the right woman. Now I've gone ahead and finished my last cigarette, so it's time to go be the big spoon. I would like to make sure, though, if you would please, we need to have some shilling done. Brian, would you please do some spammery and some promotion?
Sure. Let's see here. You can see me well, actually today's technically Wednesday. So yeah, you can see me tomorrow on the Irate Prostate Netflix hot take stream. And then this weekend
Well, wait a minute. What are you doing for hot takes this time around?
You know, I don't know. I've actually been moving all this week, so I'm gonna have to rush and watch it like tomorrow.
I hope he does Maniac.
I hope I think I'll suggest that to him because I have been watching that and that's amazing.
It's very off kilter.
Yeah, it's great. And then you can see me on Weekend Warriors on the Finer Print channel, Saturday or Sunday, whatever day we feel like it. And I should be getting close to pumping out some more content here on my Big Fat Brian channel, because I think I'm going to be doing condom wine.
Cooking with condom wine?
Cooking with condom wine.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm going to make the wine.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've got going for me.
So yeah, I'm not seeing a link, so the dozen or so people can actually sub to you.
Yep. Let me grab that real quick.
And while he's doing that, Kadan, please feel free.
Well, since
chill away.
Since today is technically Wednesday, I actually do, or I should be doing, Not Safe for Wednesday on Moonifest Destiny with Lo-Fi, and we talk about this kind of stuff, sex and relationship stuff and all that jazz. That tends to be our regular topic of discussion on Not Safe for Wednesday, and so feel free to check it out. It should be at about 9 EST is the time that it should be starting. But keep an eye. If you follow us on Twitter at all, you can, one of us, if not both of us, will usually share the link, the watch link, when we have the watch link up and ready. So hopefully that'll help. And yeah, Lo-Fi on Twitter is at quite_kelp, and then I'm at Kaduntb, and then this is the Moonifest channel.
Do you have the link to Moonifest by any chance?
I am throwing it in right now.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I do my little show every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. Next week, I'm having on B-movie director Jim Wynorski, and that should be a lot of fun. He was the writer and director of the cult classic Chopping Mall. He's also done several other things, and he's got about 100 movies under his belt. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. And I think tomorrow I will actually take the time and share my woes with GoFundMe. As GoFundMe has been very straight and upstanding, but dealing with PayPal and my bank at the same time, there's a little bit of a problem. So I guess I will talk about that tomorrow. But I would like to make sure and thank everybody who showed up this morning, whether out of boredom or curiosity. I would also like to thank Buzz. I'd like to thank Big Fat Brian. I'd like to thank the Wolf herself. And, of course, the ever-present Kadan. My name is Slim Shady. Oh, wait, hold on. This is Doc Griffin saying, please Do enjoy your morning because I'm going to bed, fuckers.